I'll start with the discussion. And I'll be covering the following topic like introduction, linear DC-DC converters, switching DC-DC converters, basic fundamentals of DC-DC converters, and control of DC-DC converters. Then one case study on a simple buck topology, and then simulation software, whatever available today, and tools. State of art technologies today on this topic, and then how is the career path looks like and job opportunities. Basically, if you see the today's we are accustomed to use a very small size of equipments, and everything is getting very handy, very small, and going forward it will be going to be the trend. High quality, small, lightweight, reliable, efficient power supply is the future. So there is nothing wrong in that, and it is a kind of going forward. We are going to see much more simplified and small power supply and all. Each topology has their common and unique properties actually, and so designer need to choose the right topology which is best suited for intended applications. Some topologies are good for low power output, some are not. For a low power, it has to be a high power output, and that will be best cost effective topologies. Some will be good for a higher AC input voltage, some are for low input voltage. Some are for high DC output voltage, some are good for multiple outputs, and some required lower part counts because the cost could be a challenging factor some of the places. And some power supply will be required where the ripple and noise requirement is very minimal. So you need to have a very low ripple output, and maybe your EMIMC requirement will be very less. So it is basically a silent requirement. And then some may be required a simple control. We don't need any complex algorithm to run this power supply and control mechanism to in a closed loop fashion. So shorter way, like it is worth to have a basic understanding so that we have a correct selection of the power supply at the starting point to save the time. With that, I'll start the linear DC-DC converter. It has two types. One is shunt regulator, which is like a Zener based. There is a basically there is a series drop resistor, and there is a Zener. So if you want some voltage like from 5 volt 3.3 to be regulated, supply is required, then 3.3 Zener can be used. But this kind of power supply is limited to 200 to 300 milliwatt. So it is because this is a series resistor will be dropping that load current. Second type is series pass regulator. You can see there is a different type I have drawn here. So there is a series pass regulator where the transistor will be used, and which will be basically operate at active region. It is kind of resistive mode. And the control will be based on the output voltage. It will be a reference with a target voltage, and that will bias to another transistor base current, and which will basically turn on this series pass in a way that it will be controlling the output voltage. So there are also different type, LDO and standard regulator. LDO is basically used to reduce the voltage drop in the line, but that is not comes as a free because it has a higher base current, which is higher the ground current. So, and there is another topology where the base current is a totem pole topology, where the base current will be reduced. But if you see that voltage drop across this is much higher, it's around 2.5 in a maximum level. So designer need to select what is the application. Say for example, if you have a battery based power supply where battery voltage is 4.4 volt lithium and battery cells, and I need a 3.3 stable power in the output, so I need to have a LDO because we can allow only 0.7 volt in a max voltage drop. So with that, these are the advantages of this linear converter. Like it has a very low output ripples because there is a absolutely a silent output. Simple to control. If you see that the control is almost nothing, one error amplifier is there and one transistor. Low EMI MC noise definitely, and good load and line regulations, because in case of line changes and load changes, this type of converter acts very fast to correct it. Disadvantages, it's definitely a low efficiency because it is a operating at registry mode. So basically it will consume lot of power losses at that place. So basically, that is the reason there is a need a very big heat sink or water cooling kind of requirement, because some of the application it is very high power, but output requirement is very silent. So there kind of we have to have this 35% of loss, heat loss has to be dissipated somewhere. So water cooling and big heat sinks are required. So in a way, it will be costly because a lot of materials required for heat sink and all, and it cannot operate as a step up application. We cannot boost the voltage. Whatever is available, we can only reduce the voltage. Next is how to control is a constant current, because in the previous slide I have shown the voltage control, how it is reference and how it is controlling this device to have a constant output voltage. But it can also be possible to have a constant current control, where the one resistance will be there, which will be sensed using this error amplifier, where the reference will be set. If this current sense is crossing this limit of this reference, so what it will do is it will be reducing, it will be sinking the reference value, because this diode will be in forward bias, and this reference will be synced through this. So what will happen, in a way, the current or bias for this transistor will be reduced. So output voltage will start reducing. So in a way, this is try to maintain a constant current output, or until unless this current is not going beyond that limit I set by this reference, it will be act as a output, constant output voltage. But beyond this limit, it will act as a constant current source. Next is I come to that DC-DC converters. So DC-DC converters, switching DC-DC converter rather. So this switching DC-DC converter, how it's operate is basically there is a series switch. It's similar to that linear power supply. The series switch will be connected with a load, but this series switch will be operate either in closed condition or open condition, like saturation or cutoff region. So in that, what will be the benefit? This loss on this, it will be less, because it will not no more operating as a resistive mode. So either it will be a voltage delivering to the load, or it will be open. So kind of. So then, and the output, if you see, you can see a pulse output. So basically, to utilize the voltage in a constant manner or average mode, we have to filter it out basically. So in this case, what is with the output voltage? Output voltage is nothing but the T on time times of input voltage. So that is defined by the delta. Delta is the T on by T total T. So this is the total T time. And if you see the efficiency here, so efficiency of a linear regulator is around 60% or slightly above, where the switching converter can operate up to 90-95%. This graph is saying less than 90, but actually it can, today's world, it is going up to 90-95 and beyond that also, many cases. So I'll go to the next one topology, which is very popular, and it is a starting topology. I would say it is a buck converter. The similar thing, whatever I shown, just there is a switch which is in series with the input voltage. In parallel there is a diode, and then there is an inductor in series, and then parallel the capacitor and a load. So what will happen when this the switch is on? The current will supply from V in through L through the inductance and load. And when this switch will turn off, the inductor current will try to continue the flow through this freewheeling diode. So one important thing we should know here is the inductance is by nature, it will never allow us to discontinue the current. It can have a slope, like it will be rising and then falling. So what will happen if you see the current on the inductor, it will be like that, rise, fall, rise, fall. So when the transistor is on, voltage source is there, output voltage is there, and current will increase. When there is no source, that means transistor is off, it will continue the current in this way, so there is a decay. So basically it is a continuous conduction mode where the inductor current is never coming to zero. And if you see how this diode, when the transistor current is like this, the first graph, transistor current, and then getting zero, and then the current is taking over the diode and it is coming zero, and this is continued like that. And inductor current is like this. And if you see the switch voltage, which is when it is turned on, the voltage across the switch is zero. And when it is turned off, voltage across the switch is equal to V in, because diode is, we can see around 1 volt. So we can, for simplification, we can neglect this voltage drop across the diode. So basically it is a V in is seen by the transistor. So that buck converter, one important thing is switch selection will be based on the input voltage. If the input voltage is 100 volt, the switch will be around more than 100 volt or 120 or 125 volt. So here, how we'll derive the equation of transfer function, basically output versus input. So in that case, there is a formula that is a voltage times over a period of time should be zero. So the area A is nothing but V in V minus V out into the on time, basically, because during this time the voltage across the inductor is input minus output, and this is the T on time. That's why it will be multiplied with T on. And this B section is nothing but the V out. When this transistor is off, diode is conducting, then the voltage across the L is only output voltage, because the diode is conducting, it is like these 2 points are short. So voltage across the inductor is V out. So V out times T off. So if you do that, you can see the voltage equation is around like V out delta into V in. So basically, if the duty cycle is 1, that means if it is constantly on this cycle, the output will be equal to V in. If the duty cycle is 0.5, like 50% time the cycle is on, that switch is on, then output will be just half. So that means if the input voltage is 12 volt, I will get 6 volt in the output. So here there is a multiple operation is possible. This diode can be replaced with a transistor again or MOSFET to have a synchronous operation, because sometimes diode loss is more and it has a reverse recovery problem. So many things that we'll be covering on the details topic of this buck converter. And sizing of the inductor and capacitor will be highly dependent on switching frequency. If switching frequency is high, I will have a smaller size of inductor and capacitor. So that will be calculated based on these formulas. I'm not going to discuss about how to derive this equation, because that will take little time. So, and next is application. So this has a wide application in a board power supply. If you need a 5 volt to 3.3 or 12 volt to 5 volt, 3.3 volt, like IC supply and microcontroller supply, this is the widely used topology. And to increase the power output, the interleaved buck also can be used. Interleaved is nothing but it will be like a parallel operation of the similar one, which will have just a 180-degree phase shifted operation, where the output ripple will be reduced. So it will be like, I'll just show you. So it will be like this. The current waveform will be like this. So if I average it, it will be much lesser ripple. Now delta I you are seeing, because of this interleave, it will become delta I by 2. So with that, I'll move on to next one, the boost converter. It is again a very useful converter, I would say, because here we can able to increase the output voltage from the input voltage. So basically, if I want a 12 volt output from 5 volt supply, we can able to do that. So which is the limited by our linear converter. So here how the structure is, the inductor is in series with the source, and there is a switch in parallel, and there is a diode and capacitor and load. So during the on time, what will happen is inductor is basically short through the switch, and inductor will be charging, and inductor current will be rising in this way. This is the graph. And then when the switch is off, this inductor current will decay through the diode. So basically this capacitor will be charged. During this time, load will be taken care by the capacitor. That's why if you see the capacitor current when during this period when the transistor is on, the capacitor current is just load current which is in negative direction. This is the I0. And the capacitor current when it is a D is on, that is the in the similar slope, but not the same value because output current is somewhere here. So the subtraction of this current will be flowing through the capacitor basically. So the important factor here, you see the capacitor has an important role here. It is not like a buck converter, because in buck converter we have seen this inductor is always busy and pumping the current to the output. But here the one period during the on time, the capacitor has to take the load. So here the capacitor size is to be much bigger than the buck converter. And if we see the similar way, we can able to get this equation of voltage inductor voltage times is 0. This is the Faraday's law. So using that equation, you can see that output equation will be like this: 1 by 1 minus D. So if you see, if D is 0.5, so output will be just double. If D is around 0.7, 0.8, will be much higher is the output voltage. But one important thing we should remember, there is not a kind of, there is a limit of this D also. We cannot go up to close to 9.5 in that case, because at that time it will not able to deliver the power, because most of the time the switch will be on and very short time it has to pump the power to the secondary. So there is a reality versus the equation. We cannot operate a very high D. So, and this converter is widely used in a boost PFC converter, which will be around 300 to 500 watt of applications. And this also can be used as a interleaved to increase the power. So I think, yeah, next I'll go to buck boost converter, where there is an advantage of same converter can be used like a, either buck or boost. So here it is a little different structure. Again, the switch in the front like the buck, and then in parallel the inductor is coming and diode in a reverse direction, and capacitor also reverse, and output voltage, if you see, this is, it will be, output will be reverse here. I'll explain that why. So here basically the current is flowing when the T on, the current is rising like this. When the turn inductor, the switch is off, the current will try to carry, this inductor current will try to carry in this direction. So what is basically happening? See, this capacitor is forced to see a negative voltage basically, and output also. So inductor is driving this whole topology. So inductor current wants to continue in the same direction. So it will be decaying, and same time it is pumping the power to load as well as to the capacitor. So if you see, the capacitor current will be looks like this: output load current whenever there is no power, because whenever the inductor is getting charged from the input, that time capacitor is carrying the current of the output load, and during this inductor, that time is load is taken care by the inductor. So basically there also you can see. So basically in the similar way, if we see that when the switch is on, the voltage seen by the inductor is the Vs, and whenever the switch is off, the diode is conducting, and this the output voltage is seen by the inductor. So if you see, this is the waveform is very important for the student to understand, to have a better idea how this equation is coming from. And that is from this equation. If you able to draw this graph properly, you can able to derive this equation, where is the Vs and V out. So V is, this is the area A and this is the area B. Both areas should be constant at any case, in a constant stable condition or kind of steady state operation. So in that case, this will be equation will be like that, and then V0 versus Vs is like this. One problem here is the negative. So actually here the output will be a negative in nature, and with respect to this point. So if you see, if D is 0.5, the output will be output and input will be same. If the D is zero point 0.8, so you can able to get almost 4 times of the output. Input output will be the 4 times of input, and D if it is a zero point 0.3 and all, then it will be a kind of buck operation. So here the advantage is the same converter able to provide the buck operation as well as boost the voltage, and only thing is the negative is the negative output. So we have a different power supply topology like say peak and Cook converter, which will be like a output will be a reverse, like in the positive direction. So with that, I'll go to next topology. It is a flyback converter. It is also called as a isolated buck boost converter. And here the advantage is there is a, instead of the, if you see the last one, there is a inductor here, and that is getting replaced with a transformer here, and which is opposite in polarity. So their dot point is opposite. So what will happen is, so when the transistor is on, this inductor, like again that will be a simplified with a magnetizing inductance and a ideal transformer. Basically this is the ideal transformer where the trans ratio is n upon n2, so which is small n basically. So what will happen is, when the inductor the switch is on, the magnetizing inductance will be charged. Okay, so and when it is off, this magnetizing inductance will try to continue the current in this direction. In the beginning, what will happen when the transistor is on, this dot terminal is positive, and this is the positive terminal. So similarly, this will be positive. So there will be negative. This diode will be in off condition. It will not be forward biased. So output, there is a no output available, or the output is carried by capacitor C. What will happen when the switch is getting off? The current will try to continue in this direction. Then the terminal, the dot will become negative, and this will be positive. And as this is become positive, this will be positive, and this diode will be forward biased, and load current will be taken care by this inductance. So this operation is very interesting one. This flyback converter is slightly tricky to understand, but it is a very useful converter because it can have multiple secondary winding, up to 10 secondary winding it can able to have. So if you need a multiple output like 3.3 volt, 5 volt, 12 volt, and whatever may be, so we can have a single primary with a switch and multiple secondary with a diode. In this fashion we can able to use it. And here one more important thing is, there is no output inductor required. This will act as an inductor. So in a overall, if you see, the flyback converter is not a transformer. It is like a inductor with a multiple windings basically. And there is a if you see input output transfer function, there is another term n has come. So basically using this n also you can able to control the output. Basically this kind of converter used for offline application where the input voltage is high, like 230 volt input. From there we can derive like 5 volt, 10 volt and 15 volt like that. That is the popular application of this flyback converter. And if you see here, output is positive, not like a buck boost converter. So that is another advantage. But in this converter also there is a problem like leakage inductance, which is causing a high spike in the switch when it is getting off. Basically there is a leakage inductance will comes in a transformer this thing. So to overcome that, they need to have a RCD snubber, which will be like dissipative nature. So basically what will happen when the switch will getting initiate to turn off, the current will be diverted in this path, and this resistor, this capacitor will be charging through this resistor. The capacitor will be charging in this direction, and the discharging will be happening in during the on time. The discharge will happen. So in this converter, during that on time, that the energy storage in the inductor Lm is a half Lm in I peak square. So I will show the equation here. So I peak is nothing but this. So when it will be starting, the current will be rising. This is the I peak, and this is the energy will be stored in the magnetizing inductance. And once next cycle start, the same energy is transferred to the secondary to the load. So here is the topology with a multiple two windings, and there is a control and this. I am not going to discuss much about this here. I have a separate slide how to control this kind of converters. And this application, popular application, is less than 100 watt, and it can have a multiple of 10 numbers of secondary windings. And yeah, so basically in switch yeah, switch selection is another important factor. Like whenever it will be off, the switch voltage seen by this will be input voltage only. So and the diode also similar. When it is off, the voltage seen by the diode in off condition is the output voltage. So PIV of peak inverse voltage is be output voltage. So those are the selection criteria of the switch. So that is here.